Okay, so the topic of this video will be the Harvard Crimson. This team sucks with a capital S. Now let's go bit by bit, shall we? Because I think that it's not good enough to say that they suck. Let's start off with where they suck. First of all, look, the quarterback's a 52 overall. Although, according to what I've experienced so far, the quarterback is doing alright. He's not the greatest quarterback, but he's doing his thing. Now he can throw the ball, just not at a great pace. He can make his plays here and there. But this halfback, number 33, is an 86 overall, actually 85 overall. This guy should be a starter on a top 25 team. And yet somehow he decided to play for our team. He's a junior. So if he decides to go somewhere after his career ends in this thing, after the season ends, I wouldn't be surprised. Number 83 is another one of our only bright spots in this team. He's at 76, 78 overall. Without the +2, he would be at 76 overall. He would be a fourth, the fourth wideout at a top 25 team. The rest of the team is not great. Let's just put it there. This team absolutely sucks. But the biggest problem we have comes in the form of our linemen. Newsflash, it's non-existent. Our center is a 48 overall. This guy sucks, and so does every single lineman in this team. Now I need to tell you how awful that is. We have an 85, 86 overall halfback that if it were not to be for that awful O-line, this guy would be running for days. And it's not like he doesn't have any speed. He has 93 speed. But his team cannot provide the blocking to help him get through. Against the teams we're facing, against some of them at least, he should be running all day. But because there's no lineman, he cannot run. This guy averages 3.3 yards per carry. And if you were to look from a distance, you would say that's bad. But then when you realize that when your tackle is a 52 overall, when your center is when your guard is a 56, and when your center is a 48, you would then say, oh, that makes sense. If anything, he's overachieving with this kind of O-line. That's the biggest problem we have. And here's the thing. This quarterback is not a deep passer quarterback. And yet because of this awful O-line, we have to depend on getting deep passes and hope for the best. Passing it to either number 83 or to number 42 or to number 18, who's ever playing in that time. The only true bright spot on this team is number 83, another junior. This team is completely awful. Let's just say it. Let's just put it that way. This guy's talents are being wasted. He would be better off on a on another team as the third or fourth wideout in the depth chart. It's the truth. That is completely awful. The only bright spot that we have is our halfback. But that would be only if he had a decent O-line protecting him. That's not the case. Now going to the defensive side of the ball. As you can see, with these overalls, it sucks. We just cannot blitz to save our lives. We cannot blitz to pressure the quarterback into making awful decisions when it comes to the passing game. We allow running backs to run as if the field was an entire red carpet. Like, here you go, sir. Go ahead and run. This team sucks. But at the very least, against some teams, they have their bright moments. This cornerback, he's a junior. He's been another one of our bright spots on our team. He could be the second cornerback for a good team. He has 2 interceptions for our team. 2. And yet we cannot find a way to make this work. The rest, the free safety is awful. And our strong safety, he's alright. He's alright. But the thing with this team is that we just don't have any O-line or any D-line. Our defense can do a couple of things here and there, have their bright moments. The quarterback, as awful as he is, he has some bright moments himself. And when it comes down to anybody but the O-line or D-line, they put in the work. As you can see this year, we don't have any freshmen. So, we have 19 seniors walking out the door. And we have maybe 1 or 2 players, heck, maybe even 3 players walking out if they decide either to transfer to go to the NFL for some reason. Who knows? Then we have our punter and kicker. Like the punter, like I have no idea. Like, these guys are just awful. I once tried like a kick from the opponent's 28 or something like that. He missed. That's how bad he is. Now, with all that ranting out of the way, I would like to say this is the start of week 7. Here's our in-season recruiting. We have Justin Jensen from Carroll City, Florida, the number 1 wideout in the entire nation. 6'5", 205. This guy, he's a number 1 wideout, and his interest level is the highest when it comes to joining Harvard. A 4-star wideout. He runs a 4.3. His potential and discipline are average, which is good enough for us. A 42-inch vertical. He has 8+ hands, benches 285 and squats 470. And he wants to go to Harvard. Then we go into Sam Vong, 3-star defensive tackle, number 7 in the nation, 6'4", 315. We're tied with Texas A&M to have him. Yeah, his potential is poor, but for what we have, he's more than enough to bring some support to that D-line. In fact, he could be the star of that D-line, knowing how bad this team really is. And that's just the in-season recruiting. All I'm gonna do is just simulate the rest of the season and see where we go. So I'm gonna see you soon. So Justin Jensen has decided to go to Florida State. And here it says our prestige wasn't the reason why he didn't choose our school. Okay, so what now? So with that, we're gonna have the remaining points go to Sam Vaughn and hope that he goes to Harvard. So Sam Vaughn has committed to the University of Harvard. Now this guy, we talked to him about academics, and it turned out this guy, talking about academics played a big role in his choice. But the reason why I talked to him about academics was because a few weeks prior, it was rumored that this guy was all about hitting those books, and he ended up committing to Harvard. Now we will see you in the offseason. So as you can see here are the graduates for this year, and nobody left because it was their junior season and they went off. Everybody's leaving because they were seniors. But these guys were not really that special, so we're just gonna move on. And as it turns out, there is a tight end that has decided to transfer to Harvard. Moore is the last name of this tight end. He's transferring from Penn State, so I would say that he is at the very least a decent tight end, and we're gonna accept him. But it will take about another year before we can actually use him, I think. So we have two players committing here, which is Rodney Hines, a wideout, a 2-star wideout, and Sean Tate, a 2-star cornerback. Let's hope that they can bring us some possible, some slight success in the coming years. Two more players have committed to going to Harvard, which are Phil Beato, a halfback, and Eric Harrell from Washington, D.C. He is a wide receiver. So as we look at our roster, we did have a couple of upgrades. For starters, we do have 2 extra wide receivers, one of which is not exactly the best. He says about as good as any other of the other wideouts, but it's a small upgrade. It's a start. Next up, we have Jeremy Moore. I'm not sure how the transfer thing works, but for now, he is a huge plus for this team. 76 overall. For now, he will do. And this O-line, another year of terrible O-line, so not much to expect on the offensive side of the ball this year. On the defensive end, however, we have Sam Long, 70 overall. He's the only freshman on this team, and expect him to start. Then we have Robert Johnson. He's a 62 overall, a freshman, so he will immediately take the starting nod over number 35 over here. Sean Tate, he's not going to get a start. Maybe he will, who knows, depending on which formation we use. And then for the rest, we don't have a punter. But honestly, I don't care much, because basically you can just fill out both roles, which should still be the same. But overall, is it a success? Well, it's a success-ish kind of season, because at the very least, we didn't walk away with empty hands. Let's just put it that way. So going by the training results, number 62, the center, has improved big time. He's a 52 overall now. Still not good enough for my standards. Number 19, the quarterback, a sophomore. So let's say, okay, redshirt sophomore. He has improved again. None of these players have improved enough for my standards. I think that they can still do a lot better. So, am I disappointed? Not really. However, I would expect number 33 to make a big impact in the following season. I mean, even if he can put at least some type of effort to help this team win a few games, like 3, or any game at all, this team can go somewhere. And for Jeremy Moore, our transfer tight end from Penn State, now a 78 overall, and he has some speed for a tight end, so we're gonna be looking for him a few times here and there. And that's it for our training results. So after adding walk-ons, Eric Horgan is your new punter. He will also be the kicker for the team, the starting kicker, since he has better stats than number 1. Let's see who else has entered the team through walk-ons, and they expect much? No, but I expect something. And we have Tyler Hill, a 56 overall fullback. I mean, he might not do much in this team, and so far I don't see much. We have Eric Brenton. I don't think I've seen him. He has a 56 overall, and upgrade over, honestly, most guards in this team. Still suspect, but still something is better than nothing. And I'm not sure if this guy was here before. I don't remember. William McDonald. We have Sam Wong, Lawrence McIntyre. All those two will be getting the starting nods. Robert Johnson, the freshman, he won't be getting the starting nod immediately, but he can do something. Honestly, okay, Chris Williams, this would be a huge downgrade. But honestly, this team does look a lot better than last year's team. They expect them to win more games than lost games? No. But at least they should win at least one game. Okay, so here's the schedule for this year. So this is how the schedule will run. And originally here was in week 9, it appeared as if we were gonna face Utah, number 18 Utah. But I decided that I didn't really want to face a top 25 team until the end of the year. And here we will be facing Penn State, and it will be interesting to see how well their former players go off against his former team. And Moore will be playing against his former team in Penn State. But before we sign off, I would like to see who is playing for Penn State. I'm sorry, I'm talking softly here. So let's look at Penn State for a second, because I really want to see the reason why this tight end, my starting tight end, left Penn State. And I cannot see why he decided to leave. This guy's a sophomore. Maybe there was someone better in this team, and he decided, and he wasn't getting any playing time, and he decided, I've had it. You know what? I've had it. And he would have been a better he would have been the best tight end in this team. He would have been a guaranteed starter. Maybe the coach told him maybe next year you will get to start, and he said, "No, man, I ain't having it. I will go to another team." And here we are. He's going. He went to Harvard, and right now we have him, and it'll be interesting to see how things go on from there. Now, I really don't expect him to. I really don't expect Jeremy Moore to help our team win that game because, honestly, it's just too impossible. I mean, they have more players in the 90s in overall than we have players. They're gonna whoop our butts, guaranteed. But at the very least, we had a decent upgrade this season. And this year we have 4 players who are at least 80 overall. The bad news about it is all of these guys are seniors. Number 33, number 3, number 83, number 37. These guys are seniors. So this is their last year. But so starting next year, leading the way will be Jeremy Moore, Sam Wong, Phil Beato, and Rodney Hines. These guys will really have to step up their game if they really want to have a shot at even getting close. And I do mean somewhere close to being the leaders of this team. Okay, so going here into the in-season recruiting to start things off, I really did not feel it was right for me to start going for those 4-star recruits. Like, we're not really there just yet. Like, I went for the best possible 3-star candidates. So we're gonna try to recruit Martin Horton, Victor Johnson, Brian Fine, Louise Jones, Danny Dan, Chris Wright, George Samuel, Neil Morgan, Fred Peterson, Leon Horton, Edward Sims, and Matt Jackson. This does not guarantee them. This does not mean that they're gonna be in our team guarantee. But we're being a little bit realistic here, because we understand we're nowhere near the position for us to even get a 4-star recruit. Last season we tried to go for a 4-star recruit. He was very close, really close to ending up with us, and things didn't really work out. He ended up going to Florida State. And going on to, he ended up with Florida State. What did I say before? Florida State. This wide receiver, Justin Jensen, is not even gonna start just yet. He's 78 overall freshman at the wide receiver position. Maybe he's willing to wait a year or two on a good team. He prefers doing that than starting out at Harvard. I understand. I would be in the same position as, if I were in the same position as him, I would make the same decision, honestly, because our team sucks right now. Like, he would be wasted talent in Harvard. This team is kind of loaded, and I'm glad that we're not facing them. So yeah, going back to our team for a second, I really don't think that, with the schedule that we have, we're not gonna have a winning season, but at the very least we might get a few wins. Our team has improved, but let's just see how much they've improved by. Now, let's just look at the game info for a second here. And sure, here it says that we are garbage compared to Navy. But hey, it's a fresh new start. Anything can happen. So, next episode, depending on how things go, we can either see a summary of the first 4 games of the season, or we could just be calling it a summary of season, trying to speed up the process. Depending on how things go, I hope to see you next episode. Peace.